Fire away.
How comfortable do you feel at your linebacker depth at this point?
I think we're establishing some depth, which in the spring we didn't feel we necessarily had, primarily because we really didn't know a lot about the guys as much as we do now. But I think that, you know, if people continue to progress, we'll have an opportunity to put a two deep out there that we feel comfortable with. Who those guys are at this point still remains to be seen, but I think that, you know, the material is there. We just got to get them through these next 26, 24, 25 practices, whatever we got here, and we should be comfortable at that point.
All three linebackers that are starters right now have put on a lot of weight this offseason. How does that change your expectations for them, or just your thoughts on that?
Well, we expect them to play more physical. You know, they're a little bit light, as you mentioned, in the spring. Coach Parker's done a great job of getting weight and strength on them, but it doesn't matter unless that transfers onto the field in terms of, you know, blow delivery, tackling, the things you got to do to be a physical player. So today was the first day out there with anything besides helmets. You know, we were able to wear shoulder pads today, so it'll be a good evaluation to watch this practice tape here as soon as we're done with the interview and see how we looked.
How was Najee Clayton looking?
Najee's made a lot of strides. Like the other two, he's put on a substantial amount of weight, and looks as though at this point he's done a good job of maintaining his movement skills. His speed and quickness still, I think, are very similar to where they were before the weight gain, so that's a real positive. We'll see if he can hold on to that and maintain that throughout the course of camp.
Go ahead.
What does TJ have to do coming off the injury to get in the mix there at linebacker?
Well, it was a tough spring for him just because he wasn't able to move, you know, at 100% efficiency, and so that, you know, that made a difficult evaluation. So we got to kind of pick up from there in this camp and see where we can go. But really, it comes down to production and efficiency of movement skills. Those types of things would be what we're looking at most closely. But he's a sharp guy, good on his assignments, fundamentally sound. Just got to see if he can come along those other areas.
What have you seen out of Arias over the last 3 days?
Well, it's really tough to evaluate linemen when you're not wearing pads. So again, today was the first opportunity to kind of see that. But certainly he has a little bit of twitch and some giftedness as far as foot speed and quickness and things of that nature that maybe some of the other guys don't have. So his ability to rush the passer and do some things as far as getting off blocks will be to his advantage. He's very good with his hands, very good with his hands. And up front, that's critical to our success.
Jay, I don't know that everybody could be a defensive coordinator for a head coach who was just a really successful defensive coordinator. Is it your history that allows you guys to be, you know, able to work together so closely like that?
Well, I think that helps. You know, certainly, you know, we've known each other a long, long time. But beyond that, I think there's a philosophical compatibility there that makes Coach Ash comfortable. How comfortable I am is irrelevant. It's him that has to be comfortable. So. You know, it's those two things together, really, I think, that make it work the way it does.
I guess you say how comfortable you are is irrelevant, but I mean, at the same time, to have somebody, I don't want to say looking over your shoulder, but to have somebody there who is so particular, how do you handle that? Is it just because you're a veteran guy?
Well, I think every defensive coordinator has a head coach looking over his shoulder, whether he's defensive-minded or not. And if you can't handle that, then you're probably not in the right line of business, right line of work. And you know, it won't be just him evaluating, it'll be everybody that's got a TV set or a stadium seat. So that's just the nature of the beast.
Coach, at this point, what would you say the biggest strength of the defense is?
I think it's up front, the defensive line. You know, that's where we're most consistent and most experienced at this point. You know, hopefully the other two position groups catch up with them. But that's the way I felt coming out of the spring, and so far, I don't see that having necessarily changed. Not that it can or it won't, but that's where we're at right now.
Obviously, the pass defense here has struggled before you guys got here for a couple of years. What have you noticed from those kids about their mindsets and being able to kind of turn the page and, you know, improve?
Well, we made a lot of progress throughout the spring. We started out, if any of you guys were there for some of the initial spring practices and the first scrimmage, we were really getting hurt, you know, in the vertical pass game. And so, you know, the corners have done, especially the corners, have done a really nice job of shoring up their technique and understanding the changes that they had to make in their game. I don't think there was ever any doubt that, you know, they had the physical tools that we needed to see, but they still had to learn the position, the details of the fundamentals of their position. and that's really come along. So if they continue to progress, I think we'll put guys out there that have a good quality of play that we're comfortable with.
One of those guys, Ross Taylor Douglas, was playing running back last year. How big a transition is that for him?
Well, it's a transition. I mean, you got to get over on the other side and get comfortable and get in the groove and be able to practice things you're being asked to do. So again, only 3 practices into it. It's a work in progress, but hopefully it'll turn out good in the end if he just keeps chipping away at it.
How would you describe your general philosophy? Do you want to get after the quarterback? Do you want to put pressure on the quarterback?
Absolutely. I mean, everybody wants to do that. It's just a question of how you choose to. Philosophically, my belief is if we can pressure with 4 and cover with 7, that's the way I'd like to do it. But if those 4 guys can't get it done, then you got to find other ways to manufacture that kind of production. So we'll just have to see how we progress. Today, I thought we did a good job for the first day in pads coming out and establishing a 4-man pass rush. But that's going to change from game to game as you see them, different types of offensive lines and qualities of protection. You're going to have to do some things different each week by game plan too.
How are Battle and Williams adjusting just to the comms level?
Well, again, 3 days in, they're probably better served to answer that than me. But they have good attitudes. They're hard workers. They're good kids. They're a lot of fun to be around. I think they'll definitely contribute to our program. It's just a matter of when, as soon as they can progress.
Jay, what will you ask of Deontay Roberts as the middle linebacker specifically in this group in terms of play calling and communication?
Well, those guys have to be like quarterbacks on defense. They've got to be able to set the front. They've got to be able to change front shades as we see fit based on game plans, backfield sets, formations, all those kinds of things. And then they're tied into the secondary with some of the check systems that we have with our safeties, so they got to work together on that. But certainly, I think the linebackers have to tie the defense together because they work with both the front and the back end.
And then his backup at the Mike, Marquez, seems to separate himself a little bit from the spring, summer. How would you rate his progress?
He's off to a real good start. You guys are mentioning that we've got starters, and yeah, I mean there are guys that are running with the first unit, so to speak, and some with the second and the third and so on. But truly, we're under evaluation right now, really everywhere. And I think it'll continue to be that way through at least a couple scrimmages. So, but to get back to your question, I think Kevin certainly has an opportunity to help us and be able to play the Mike position for us, both in the nickel package and the base package. And he's right there with all those other guys right now.
Coach, what went into the move to Kevin Wilkins over to the 3-tech, or is he still interchangeable?
He'll be able to play either the nose or the 3. But he's got some characteristics that are similar to Darius in terms of being a little twitchier kind of guy, a little bit better motor and a little bit better speed and quickness and pretty good hands. So really, when it gets down to it, if you got it too deep and you're dual training your players, you're going to end up taking the 3rd best guy and putting him in the game if one of the starters goes down. And ideally, that's the way we like to be able to handle it if it comes to that.
Okay, we asked you about this in the winter. Just curious, you got your hands full here, but how are the updates going from Iowa? How things coming there?
We talk on occasion when we can. It's pretty busy when we're both in the middle of our training camps, but I think they're doing fine. I appreciate you asking. Huh?
And how's he doing personally?
Myself?
Yeah, no, your son.
Oh, well, I have 2 of them there. Yeah. But they're both doing well. I think they're happy. They're enjoying being part of the program and having fun playing there.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.